Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And not only is it 7 p.m. on the East Coast, but there's also something else. It is Friday. And if it's Friday and I'm on, generally speaking, it's an AMA. So yes, it is absolutely an AMA. So today I want to start with something I thought was kind of interesting. But of course, as always, I'll be far more lenient on people posting. I will grab people who aren't members. I'll do all the things trying to make it a little bit easier, and you can open up to any questions and comments you want, even if they're off topic, doesn't matter whatsoever. But a thing I wanted to bring up is, believe it or not, someone got me a little bit triggered yesterday actually, and that is James Carville. Why James Carville? He's always yapping, saying stuff. Generally speaking, even though James Carville can be very aggressive and forward, he's often right. Not always, but he's often right. He's often savvy. Often, not always, but he often is. But now he's getting desperate. And I don't think he's alone. And that's why I'm saying, if it was just him hooping and hollering, who cares? One guy's going to hoop and holler. No, this is a little bit more than that. And let me explain why. This is a piece from, this is a piece from Rising. This is a piece from Rising, discussing this yesterday, and you'll see what I mean by this, why I am a little bit bothered by this. Let me see if I can get my thing to share here. And okay, should be sharing, isn't it? There we go. I knew we'll get to share here. My computer is slow recently, but here we go. All right.
Time Democratic strategist James Carville has some bold advice for Democrats if they want to, quote, save democracy.
So Carville appeared Wednesday on his Politics War Room podcast with the journalist Al Hunt. The two were discussing the current redistricting war between Republican and Democratic states when Carville suggested Democrats should take things a little further.
Now, that's the part off the bat that bothered me. I brought up redistricting just recently already, that idea of doing that. And while I think they should be fair, I do believe that. I think redistricting is probably a good idea. I get it. The problem is people don't care about, that was a mistake. The leadership that's doing it doesn't actually care about what's safe or what's fair or what's good. They only care about their advantage. That's the problem. There is a problem with gerrymandering. That's true. There's a problem with districts. That's true. But they only care about the advantage. That's the problem. The idea of how do you count migrants? How do you count green card holders? How do you count illegal immigrants? How do you count citizens? That is an actual problem, and we should have a rule for that, right? There should be a clear ruling on what that is. I'm not even saying you should or shouldn't count them. The Constitution does say resident, if I'm not mistaken. I think it says resident. So does that mean legal resident, illegal resident, green card holder? No worries. We should find an answer for that. But they do want an answer, but only because they want to use the system to their advantage only. No one's actually no leaders are looking at it going, this is unfair. We need to actually work on this and make this make sense. No, they're like, how can we, if more immigrants will vote for my party, I want to count all the immigrants. If they won't, I don't. If I will get more seats, I want to change it. If I don't, I don't. That's the wrong reason, and it drives me crazy. This is what's tearing us apart. And this is the examples that I want to bring up. This is tearing us apart. It's tearing us apart. It's tearing us apart because now we're not caring about what's right or wrong. Everything is being done just for the system. Just for the system. And that's my problem. I am very much unhappy about that. I want it to change. Right. And that is my piece. That drives me nuts. Let me keep going if I could. There's more. Let's
listen.
If the Democrats win the presidency, the Senate and the House in 2028, which is not impossible. I don't know if you say likely or possible. I don't know what word, but it's certainly not impossible. They are just going to have to unilaterally add Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia states.
Carville didn't stop there, however. He suggested Democrats follow through on an idea.
So let me just touch that one again. Same idea. Same reason why that bothers me. They want to add D.C. and they want to add Puerto Rico. Now, to be forward, again, these are real problems. D.C.'s a problem. There are about 700,000 people or so who literally don't have a voice at the federal government. That's a problem. True. But it's been a problem for what, 100 and 200 years, whatever, however long it's been, right? Why didn't we fix it before? Why aren't they a state 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago? Because it's only about what advantage can I get? Now, not just that. If you actually care about this problem, and I do think it's wrong these people don't have a say in the federal government. You know what you could do? In theory, what you could do is you could say, hey, it's a federal district. You could just district the center small area and make that a non-residential district that only business buildings and like temporary places like hotels and such can be there. That's it. No one can permanently live in this area. You draw this area out, whatever that area is. That's where the business is done. That's DC. Everything else outside of that is residential. Give that back to Maryland and Virginia. Let's give it back. I'm very serious. Now, everyone who's in DC, who's not in the business district, goes back to one of those two, and then they'll get rights again. They get represented by either Maryland or Virginia, depending upon where they are. Do that. Also works. Or give them statehood, either one. My point again, no one cares about that. No one. Sorry, I keep saying no one. None of the leaders care about it. All they care about is, what is my advantage? And I don't care if I break tradition. I don't care if I break the law. I don't care if I harm people. What do I care about? What advantage can I get? That's it. And that drives me crazy because that's what's happening now. That's the issue. So without question, you do need to make a change in some way, shape, or form for these people. Yes. And we should have done it literally decades ago, if not a century ago. That's what should have happened. No. Why? Because political gain. You might go, Larry, they always care about political gain. True. It's not like they didn't care about political gain 100 years ago. Of course. They've always cared about political gain. But now they will literally break, change, shift, adjust, do whatever, and openly just do it. And they'll say it. Again, the gerrymandering. This is the change. The Democrats literally just said, Republicans literally just said, hey, we want to give Trump extra seats. So let's just redistrict so we can do that. Not because they cared, because extra seats. Yes. And now Carville, in return, we should just make Puerto Rico and DC, just deal with them, deal with DC, not because we care about DC, because it'll get us 2 more senators so we can get the Senate. That's fine. Puerto Rico's also a problem. Our imperial legacy needs to go away. Our imperial legacy needs to go away. So Puerto Rico should take a plebiscite and have a vote. Do you want to be a state? Do you want to be your own country? Make a decision, and we're done. If the people of Puerto Rico, people of Puerto Rico should decide. If they go, we want to be a state. Awesome. Welcome aboard. 51st state. I'm glad. Let's do it. Or bye. Good luck. Your own country. Life is good. All of our properties and territories outside of America must make that choice. Now, the smaller ones might want to join. Like maybe Guam has a choice of becoming part of Hawaii or independent. Either way, good luck. But we have a military base. I don't care. I don't care. Our imperial legacy needs to go away. U.S. Virgin Islands, no. Become part of Puerto Rico or bail. I don't care. No. We don't need territories and we don't need that stuff. It's nothing but bad. Now, I've been saying this for years. Now Carville cares. Why? Because he thinks he's going to get more senators. This is destroying us. At no point, Carville, who is a big mouth in the Democratic Party, he's not saying, let's have better policies. Let's have better answers. Let's try to fix the country. No. Our answer is, rig the system so we can stay in power without doing any of that. And I'm wrong, Republicans is bad. They say the same thing. Let's get 5 more seats. You mean by being better? No. By just redistricting so we can get more seats and have more power. But don't you want to fix things? No, I don't fix things. So I want to stay in power. Oh, yes. Rick, I do appreciate Rick. Rick is a member. Thank you, my friend. Choose empire or republic. You can't have both. True. I would like republic, Rick. I'm going to go with republic. That's my vote. Maybe someone will care. I don't know if they will or not, but I sure hope so. So yeah, but he's not done. He's not done.
One of them had for a while now, packing the Supreme Court. Let's take a look.
And they may have to expand the court to 13 members. Any of those things in isolation, I would be skeptical about. I would be cautious about. I would say, well,
everybody said it was worried we can't do it. It's a bad idea. Oh, but now he's not. Why?
Well, I don't know if that's the greatest idea in the world. You're opening Pandora's box.
Yes, true.
All kinds of things. If you want to save democracy, I think you got to do all of those things.
Now, let me explain how Carville sees democracy. Democrats in charge. See, if the Democrats are in charge, we have democracy. See, it's in the name, Democratic Party. See, so if Democrats are in charge, we have democracy. If they're not, we have tyranny. I wish I was joking. That is how he defines democracy. So to save democracy, meaning get Democrats in charge, that's how you save democracy. Doesn't matter if Democrats are actually doing anything. Democrats are in charge, therefore democracy. Democracy is when Democrats in charge. That's equal. So you understand that for those of you who are confused. That's how he sees it. So we have to break the rules, use tyranny, enforce things, go against tradition, because democracy. Now, I get it. If you're a Democrat or you lean left right now, you're going, Larry, you don't get it. The Republicans are going out of their way to make things, bad, and they're evil and they're horrible. Okay, great. They're evil and horrible. So you should also be evil and horrible? The Republicans are saying we have to do this because the Democrats are going to destroy our country. That's what they're saying. The Democrats are saying we have to do this because the Republicans are going to destroy our country. Huh. Isn't that weird? Both sides use the one-word story. Both sides dehumanize the other. Both sides just say the other one's so bad, therefore I can do whatever I want. And the sad part is the leaders all believe this, and now the rank and file is starting to. There are a whole lot of people who are behind him 100%. Like, yeah, those evil Republicans, or the reverse, those evil Democrats. It's totally fine. Do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. There are people who are like, yeah, it's totally fine for Cuomo and here in New York City, Cuomo and Trump to work together. What? Yes, to stop Mamdani, because Mamdani's evil in the world. Or you could have a better answer than Mamdani. You could do that. You could come up with an actual better answer. There's a guy who always has better answers. Oh, right, that guy's me. Yeah, me. You could just watch my show, and I will give you better answers. If you find better answers, you don't have to be scared of Mamdani. If you have better answers, you don't got to be scared of Trump. If you have better answers, you don't have to be scared at all. But you got to work and come up with better answers. And you can't just stay in charge. See, that's the problem, though. We'd rather just bend and break all the rules.
Because we just are moving further and further away from being anything close to democracy.
See, we're moving further away. So what that means is, what James Carville's saying is, we're moving so far from democracy. So what we want to do then is have better electoral laws, have better campaign finance laws, clearer, open transparency. What we also want to do is we want to have better election days so that people feel comfortable and safe, with more people watching and feeling more comfortable and gaining confidence in the system. And we also want better, easier ballot access. We want open primaries, all those things, right? No, none of those things. None of those. That would ask you what's the amount. No. What we want to do is make sure that Republicans don't win, because Republicans are all in charge now, which means, again, remember our definition. Republicans in charge, that's not good. That's not democracy. Democrats in charge, that's democracy. So to save democracy, I got to get Democrats in charge. That's how that works. Now, how we do that doesn't have to be democratic at all. It's irrelevant how we do that. Because even if you use force, law, scam, lie, nobody votes like Democrats in 2024. No Democrats get to vote for the presidential nominee. You don't do that. No, none of that matters. What matters is the outcome. The outcome is Democrats in charge. You have democracy. See? Simple. You guys should know this by now.
In September of 2024, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden introduced a bill to add 6 more seats to the Supreme Court.
There we go.
Over the course of 3 presidential terms.
Now, here's the issue. Does the Supreme Court need to be fixed? 100% yes. That's why I'm so frustrated. Because the problems they talk about are actual problems. Sorry, I said burp. The problems they speak about are actual problems, right? You could fix the Supreme Court. And my answer for fixing the Supreme Court is very simple. 18-year terms. That's it. The terms are 18 years. And 18 years, and every 2 years, you begin to replace a justice. You now rotate them. So now next year, whoever's been on longest, 18 years, gone. And then behind that, boom, 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 every year until everyone's in an 18-year rotation. So every 2 years, you swap it out. What does that mean? Every president gets 2. Easy day. Every president gets 2. Well, what if one dies? You don't have to replace them. You replace them next time around. You don't have to have 9. If one passes away, then when the next 2-year thing comes up, you replace them with someone new. Done. New person comes in. That's it. 18-year terms. 18-year terms, and they rotate through. That's it. Every president gets 2 picks. Now, if you win twice, you get 4 picks. But again, you won twice. You get 4 picks. You win once, you get 2 picks. And that's how it works. That's how you fix Supreme Court. You don't do all this stuff. It is a problem. That's true. Their answer is, how do we stack it so we can win? And here's the worst part. This now becomes literally a war to where each one keeps escalating, right? So we're going to gerrymander. No, we're going to gerrymander. We're going to gerrymander worse. We're going to totally gerrymander. Or we're going to put 3 Supreme Court. We're going to put 6 on. We're going to put 10. We're going to add Puerto Rico. We're going to get rid of Puerto Rico. I mean, they just keep going. And now it's blatant. It's so blatant that how can anyone trust this system? How can anyone trust this system? Dave says, answers, solutions. Larry, solving problems doesn't get you get reelected. True. Promising to solve problems without actually providing solutions, it will get you elected. True, as long as you're also insulting the other, right? You have to add that part. Also insult the other. That too. Well, that's what gets you elected. That's correct.
Said he made the move to reform the court due to its legitimacy crisis.
Now, a recent Gallup poll found the Supreme Court's approval rating has fallen below 40% for the first time. 75% of Republicans approve of the Supreme Court's job, while only 11% of Democrats approve. The poll was conducted from July 7th.
So now that only 11% of Democrats approve, we have to stack the court. Well, what if you stack the court? What if they say, you know what, Carvo, you're a genius. And let's say Trump loses the election in 2028 and Democrats win. And the president goes, we're going to put 6 new Democrats, and they grab the most leftist guys they can possibly find, and they throw on basically Antifa. They put them on, right? So I got 6 Antifa judges on. I'm making it up, right? They have 6 communist judges on. Boom, done. All right. And then Republicans win in 32. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to put 6, I don't know, evangelical Christians on, right? Whatever. It's going to copy. They're going to put 6 more on. And then now, even in the Supreme Court, we're doing this. It only gets worse. This is terrible. And who pays the price? We do. We do.
And through the 21st. Listen, I wholeheartely disagree with James Carville. I don't think this is a good idea.
Okay, watch this. You might go, oh, she disagrees. Okay, great. So she disagrees, right? Okay.
I think it's been battle tested. Back in the day, Franklin D. Roosevelt tried this when he wanted people to get on board for the New Deal, and it was met with criticism from his own party, but everyone else in the country was like,
people didn't like it because they shouldn't. This is a bad idea. So why would you do it this time? Why would you do it this time if back then it didn't work.
No, let's not try to sway the Supreme Court. But as much as I disagree with James Carville, I think that Republicans have done a good job at breaking all the rules. So like,
there we go. That's the problem right there. That's the problem. She said, I disagree, but, and the but's the worst part. I disagree, but Republicans bad. So what does that do? That validates what Carville just said. So she starts with, they're breaking the rules, but, Republicans are evil, so we could do it. Now, don't get me wrong. She's saying it because the Democrats doing it. Republicans say the same stuff in return. Well, Trump's doing this bad thing. Yeah, but Democrats, so usually I wouldn't like it, but this time, everyone says, but this time because the other guy's bad. She just did it. Drives me insane. Michael, thank you, my friend, for $2. Appreciate it. Yes. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. It is the idea of the Puerto Rico and DC, and of course, the Supreme Court. But there is one more I want to bring out real fast, if I may. This is from the very popular Midas Touch. And he is talking about, he's mad at Trump. Well, surprise on that one. He thinks Trump is just terrible and awful. And so here he's going to insult Trump for a while.
Friday morning, he is panicking in public.
Trump is
he is
panicking.
posting things like this. It would be 1929 all over again. A Great Depression. He puts it all in caps. If they were going to rule against wealth, strength, and the power of America, they should have done it a long time ago. Donald Trump right now is threatening the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals, which is going to be ruling shortly on whether or not Donald Trump's tariffs against the world are unlawful.
Now, here's the problem. They're right. They're right. Tariffs are supposed to be ratified by our Congress. They're right. Trump is saying that he can do it because security or something, some other BS they made up. So if this were, and this outworked, if this were Biden doing it, Democrats would be okay with it. If this is Trump doing it, they're not. Same with Republicans. If Biden was doing tariffs, they'd be totally against it. If Trump's doing it, it's fine. That's the problem again. Neither president should be doing tariffs like this. They should not be doing tariffs. This is what, look, I don't like tariffs at all, but this is the same. Okay, this is the same as DACA. Same as DACA. DACA, for the dreamers, had some good ideas. It did. It was some good ideas in DACA. Not all, but there was some good ideas. But it was done the wrong way. It was. Obama just went, that's it. That should have gone through Congress. It didn't. So, of course, it's got all kinds of problems. It gets canceled. Of course. Same thing here. This is a terrible idea to go this way. If you're going to do tariffs, you should have an entire tariff plan. Again, I don't like tariffs, but if you're going to do it, have an entire tariff plan, ratify the damn thing, and move forward. Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Why? Because my guy's doing it, it's okay. If your guy does it, it isn't. So what is going to happen? They're going to tariff and counter tariff and take off deals and break deals and shift deals. And when Democrats get in charge, they're going to change everything all over again. And then here's the problem. The uncertainty, whether you like tariffs or not, the uncertainty is going to crush us. The uncertainty is going to crush us.
And Donald Trump is saying, if the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals rules against me, the United States is going to face a massive Great Depression, worse than 1929. It's going to be horrible.
And he's doing this because he will want to blame people if it fails. I get it. I understand it. It's still BS. It's still BS. Here is the reality, whether you guys like it or not, whether you're Trump supporters or not. What happens on a president's presidential term is that president's responsibility. I have no idea if Biden was even conscious for half of his. I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. Does not matter. All the garbage that happened on Biden's watch is Biden's responsibility. All the garbage that happens on Trump's watch is Trump's responsibility. Either he gets credit or he gets blame, as Biden did and should, and as Trump will and should. That's how it works. You don't like that, don't run for president. That is my response. That's how it works. The shit that hits the fan on your term is your responsibility. That's how it works. It does not matter if you like it or not. That's how it works. So in reality, you've got to accept that as true. So yeah, Let me grab a couple more. Anyway, the last piece that what he's talking about is the census. And then there's one more piece after that I want to bring up. The census piece obviously bothers me because that's got to be fixed too. But the last piece, and again, this is also as important. Look, do we want to fix our manufacturing base? Yes, of course we do. If you think tariffs are prepared to do that, okay, then have a plan for it that makes sense, and let's get everybody on board. No. Next thing, there is now going to be an investigation of Tish James, my governor, my AG, into whether or not she violated Trump's civil rights when she prosecuted him. Now, all of this is BS. All of this is. And this is my problem. This is the reciprocal back and forth. This is Gandhi's an eye for an eye and we all go blind. It was BS for AG James to go after Trump. It's BS for Trump to go after AG James. So now he's going to keep doing it? When is it going to stop? Now, next time, when the next Democratic president, they're not going to start suing everybody. But again, why did they go after Trump? Because Trump's an existential threat. He's a fascist and blah, blah, blah. So whatever we do against him, it doesn't matter if we break precedent. It doesn't matter if we break tradition. It doesn't matter if we break the rules because Orange Man is bad. Okay. Now the rest. I'm sorry. I'm bothered because I see the escalation happening more and more, and I don't see an answer at all. And I see both sides just doubling and tripling down and wanting to fight more and more and not wanting to listen more and more. And it affects once you move this to where it doesn't matter anymore, we don't have to worry about law, we don't have to worry about tradition, we don't have to worry about precedent. It affects everything. And now I'm going back to what I always go back to. It affects our personal relationships. So now I can't go to Thanksgiving giving dinner with my family if I don't have the right politics. Now I can't date somebody if I don't have the right politics. I can't talk to my kid or I can't talk to my aunt and uncle if I don't have the right politics now, because the Orange Man is bad or Democrats are evil. This is nothing but bad. I know I bring it up constantly, but Americans are not happy. This is not helping. That's the problem. So, all right, let me grab a couple more of these. Michael, thank you for $200, guy. That's enough for you tonight. Just be good now. You went a lot. I know you got some cash. You must want to throw me some. I appreciate that. But now we can chill on that one. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. The thing is, the local government should have a say in the election of state legislatures by electing 2 senators per city, town, or village, or county. While the people vote for the assembly, the state legislature should vote for the president via electoral college. Now, that's how it was. You have a valid point. Michael knows this. This is a valid point. The concept, for those of you who don't know, the Senate wasn't a direct election. The Senate, the U.S. Senate, was selected by state assemblies. The initial goal, remember, the founding fathers did not want direct democracy, accepting that in some local areas, we do have direct democracy. In some local areas, we do. As a nation, nationally, federally, we do not have a direct democracy. But some places we do, depending upon where you are in the country, there are some direct democracies, some elections. The founding fathers didn't really want that. What they wanted was male white landowners to elect an assembly. Their thought process, by the way, it wasn't based on race. I mean, it was by default, but their thought process wasn't based on race. Their thought process was based on, their concept was, the people who own land have a vested interest in the society and the nation, and they will be the people who be more, who care more, who will think more. They're the ones who will have more skin in the game. Therefore, they're better to vote. Now, that wound up being race because white, but that wasn't their mindset. Wasn't blacks and Hispanics shouldn't vote. Their mindset was, who are the right people to vote? That was their mindset, right? That's where they were. And some people don't know that's where their heads were. Not just that. They even thought that, okay, we've got some, farmers And well, they're not really that savvy, and they might make a mistake and do something dumb. So how are we going to protect our nation from these, yokel farmers who we don't think are that bright? I'm not joking. That's what they were thinking. That was their head. Okay, here's what they do. Once they're at the assembly will elect the senators, and the senators are the senior house. So whatever the rabble and the poors come up with in the House, then that'll have to be ratified by the Senate. And those are the oligarchs. Those are the people who are savvy and smart and who are older and know stuff. And they can, keep the poors down if need be. Now that may sound harsh. That was how they thought. Mike is correct. That's how they thought. So that's why we have electoral college. They didn't want like the masses, the regular everyday people. They didn't know who might get the right to vote. What if we let like regular people vote one day? We can't have that. Well, we do have that, but they thought can't have that. But if we do, let's make sure that we have our electors, right? These are the savvy oligarchs, to make sure that they're able to go ahead and, push these people away and get the right president in. That was their mindset. Now, there's something interesting in that concept, meaning that if you have different levels of voting, to Michael's point, you have different ideas and thought processes involved. The idea also, there's another piece of this also. It isn't just that. It's also the idea that if you have the right people, in theory, who are educated, who know how things work, they'll make sure to stop the tyranny of the majority. That was also what they were worried about, right? A bunch of people are mad today, so let's vote that everybody named Michael has to, quit their job or whatever, right? Whatever. Well, the majority voted. Nobody named Michael can ever have a job, right? They thought, well, that's dumb. Let's not let that happen. Let's have our elites involved, and they can push that down and stop that just in case, that kind of thing happens. That was actually their thought process. So I get where you're going with that, Michael. It's an interesting concept to go back to that. Would it be any better or worse? Would it be any better or worse? The only issue, of course, would be, in theory, that you would rarely ever, if ever, have a mixed Senate and Assembly, right? Because if the Assembly is run by one party, the Assembly will probably pick the same party. And again, political parties didn't exist back then, right? They existed, but they weren't powerful like they are now in America. They weren't a thing in America at the time when this was written. But today's world, in New York State, they would just select 2 Democratic senators. That's what they would do. They wouldn't select Republican senators because New York State runs that. So it would mean that there would be no chance in California, in New York, to ever have a Republican senator again. They'd only have Democrats. What I was arguing is we'd have to shift senators. I think you make a change. Hear me out on this one, Michael. When it comes to senators, the idea of each state getting 2 senators is a terrible idea. It's not good. The founding fathers could never imagine that California would have 80 times the population of Wyoming. They didn't imagine that could ever happen, right? Or was it 75 times? Whatever it is, 75, 80 times, they couldn't imagine that. I'm not saying we go to proportional relationship like representation like that. What I'm saying is we make a minor shift. The bottom third of the states get 1 senator by population. The middle third get 2. The top third get 3. That makes sense. That still keeps the concept of it, that states still have power themselves. But now Wyoming is only 1/3 as powerful as California, not equal. That will be better. Now, the problem with doing that is you might go, wait a minute, that's not fair, Larry, because then Democrats might get more. Maybe not. Florida and Texas are 2 and 3. California's number 1, but New York's number 4. So maybe not. But something else you could do. You could also move towards proportional representation within states. This way, states don't dominate so much. Proportional representation gets rid of gerrymandering. What does that mean? Again, California has 53, 51, whatever that, 50. I'm going to say 50 because it's round. Has like 50 people that represent it, right? Well, now each of them does their own voting in districts. What if you just had top 50? Top 50. Or the opposite, you go by party, and whatever percentage the parties get, the parties then get their people in for that. By that could work too. In any case, you could do that if you want to, right? All those things could work. They're all possibilities. So yeah, I went long on this one, Mike, but you did a big one. So I want to make sure I gave lots of good time. So I hope that was helpful. All right, let me grab some more of these if I could. All right. Joel says, if stuff hits the fan on your term, it's your fault. That's like why Biden admin sent so many funds from November to January to sabotage Trump. If stuff hits the fan on your term, it's your fault. It's exactly why Biden admin spent so many funds from November to January to sabotage Trump. I think that's accurate. Yeah, because they know that what happens on his term is his fault. Yeah, I would agree. That's how we see it. I think that's true. Yes. So, all right, let me grab some more of these if I can. All righty. Kim, how are you, Kim? As long as we, the people, allow the so-called two-party system to function as a two-party system, in reality, it's us against them. And thanks to the EpiPen cover-up, many are seeing the real duopoly. It is funny that you bring this up, Kim. The EpiPen controversy has really opened the eyes of a lot of people. Really have opened the eyes on people. And people are starting to go, wait a minute. Are they all the same? This is bigger than people thought, than the elites thought. They thought they could just push this over. It's not gone. I think you're right. I am looking over. I'm looking over at Instagram, and Flying Rich, how are you? He says, is Flying Rich your favorite YouTuber? Yes. I'm kidding. He's my friend. I've known Rich for years. Yes. SLG Triathlon says, what are your thoughts on Tulsi's accusation about Obama? I said it before and I'll say it again. I do not think that Obama made it up. I don't think Obama even like, tried to create it. What I think Obama did, which is what I think happens most of the time when it comes to government things, is he saw it and said, ooh, jump on that, guys, push it. Ooh, jump on that, push it. That'll work. He did the old never let a crisis go to waste. That's what I think he did. Now, I know that Tulsi wants to make it so like he's like, some horrible, evil mastermind. I'm not an Obama fan. Obviously, I'm not a fan. But I don't think he was an evil mastermind. I think what he did was wrong. I would say that he was wrong. But I think he just took it and said, oh, good. Oh, this will hurt. Let's do that. Yeah, that's good. Hey, guys, let's wrap this one up. This is good. That's what I think happened. I do not think he was like, let's fabricate this thing and let's, destroy. No, I think he just said, oh, this is good. How can we amp this up? That's what I think happened. That's my gut, because that's what usually happens. That is what I think. So hope that answers your question at least. So, okay. Grab some more of these. Peace Logic in the house saying hello. Hey, Peace, how are you? All righty. Americua says, jail Comey, Brennan, and Clapper, and I'd be happy. I'd like to jail a whole lot of them. Let's go further. That's not bad. How about that's a start? How about that? There we go. All righty. Vivek says, imagine if Ross Perot was elected in 1992, or if Gary Johnson got 5% in 2016. What can third parties do / message to show the average voter Democrats and Republicans are similar? I have to say what I did in 2018. I wish I was able to do it in 2022, but I failed miserably in 2022. In 2018, I was able to provide real answers to the state. Now, why do I say I was successful? Here's why. The last libertarian who ran in New York State for governor before me by six. I had a 6-fold increase in voter turnout. 100,000 votes. That's a lot of votes for New York State, in a deep blue state. And I was able to get ballot access for the first time. And we had a bunch of local victories the year after. So much so that the Democratic Party decided to destroy my party with the stroke of a pen. That tells me I was making an impact. How did I do it? Because I'm so damn good looking? I mean, clearly I am, but that isn't how I did it, Vivek. I did it by saying, here is an answer. I know I keep saying it. I know it's a broken record, but that's the answer. Because left-right paradigm just goes, other guy bad, therefore I may violate rights. I may take away your ability to do this. I can start a war. I can do whatever because other guy bad. Independents can't do that. What Americans are desperate for is a real solution for their problems. They're desperate for it. And the sad part is because they're so desperate, they will easily and eagerly, I should say, they will eagerly accept tyranny or authoritarianism because they want their problem solved. So I walk up and I go, hey, Vivek, you got a problem? I got you. I'm Mamdani. I'll just make the buses free. I'll just free to rent. Oh, okay. I'm Trump. I'll just tariff the world and I'll keep bombing people. Oh, okay. If that's what's going to work, then I'll take it. That's the answer. That is the answer. What I don't want to do, which we do far too often, is we go back with rhetoric. And people get mad at me. Sorry, not people. Libertarians. Libertarians aren't really people, are they? I mean, kind of, maybe not. Anyway, libertarians get mad at me all the time. You didn't talk about the liberty and the blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care. Why? Because no one else cares. People care about liberty and libertarianism once they get that you have an answer for their problem. Once they get that you care. They don't care if you're smart. They don't care. And many libertarians are very smart. It's true. We're the smartest ones. Libertarians, when it comes to Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Greens, libertarians are the smartest. That's just true. So we're the smartest ones. But they don't care if we're smart. I keep saying this. People don't care how much you know. They know how much you care. Give someone a solution first, then they'll hear your rhetoric. We go rhetoric first, and that's a problem. So, yeah. Vivek goes on to say, I think third parties need a Malay. Yes. This is a piece to remember. The things that people are doing do matter without question. And the person I'll bring up, which I often bring up, is Spike Cohen. Spike Cohen's out doing stuff. He's making libertarians look good, and he's doing stuff as he should, getting wins as he should. It's amazing. Don't stop. You go, Spike. With that in mind, we still need a face like a Malay. We do. And the last one we had, to your point, Vivek, you remember, was popular was Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson was our most popular. Since him, we have not had a popular guy or gal at the top, right? George Jorgensen was nowhere near as popular as Gary Johnson, and neither was Chase Oliver. They just weren't. You're right. We need someone like that, and we don't have that person yet. Maybe one day. Maybe we will. We'll see. So, all righty. Larry AMA, the House Oversight Committee subpoenas, could the questioning be orchestrated and coordinated to ask relevant questions, or will it be the usual gotcha soundbite questions for campaign ads? It will be the usual. Yeah, of course. Might there be one or two? I mean, maybe, but I doubt it, right? This is going to be the normal, what can we use to get on the TV shows? Yeah, that's what it'll be. I have very little confidence in our Congress doing anything. Joe goes, yeah, I'm expecting a waste of money. Yes, me too. I'm with you. Yes. Mike says, hey, Mike West in the house. Gerrymandering is a problem. True. As is counting illegal aliens in the census. True. Both skew results, benefit parties and not the public. True. But voter apathy is the biggest election issue. Nothing else matters. You know, I agree with what you just said in every aspect. I'm going to go further. I'm going to say yes, and the voter apathy partially comes because of what we're talking about. The problem never gets solved. So why bother voting? My guy never wins, so why bother voting? My guy wins and never gets anything done, so why bother voting? Yes, I agree. If we had more people making, which is why you hear me as much as, and I whine about tariffs all the time, but I'm still glad Trump did them, not because I think they're going to work. I don't know. Well, look, I hope they work. It's not looking good, but why? Because he said so. He said he's going to do what he should, which is why the EpiPen piece is so horrible. His communication around that's terrible. Prior to the EpiPen, Trump was saying, I would do it, and he did it. Whether you liked it or not, he said, I'm going to do it, and he did it. And I wish all politicians did this. One of the big reasons why AOC is in trouble is she was supposed to force a vote on Medicare for all. She was supposed to push Medicare for all. She was supposed to support Palestinians and not the Israelis. She was supposed to do all that stuff. She said all that stuff. And it came to pass. She's like, well, just kidding. She should have. She said it. She should have done it. Whether you believe it or not, we need our politicians to do what they say. When they don't, Mike, I would add, that's one of the reasons why. Yes. Mike goes on to say, my big question now is, several politicians have broken the law, have warrants, are flaunting, violating laws. Why are they not arrested already? Just arrest them and things will change. So simple. They don't want to, Mike, because they want to do it too. That's my whole point. They want to do it too. Yes, I can break the law. Why? Because Orange Man bad, Mike. Don't you get it? He's an existential threat. So I can break the law. I can ignore. I can break law, I can break tradition. I can do things that are blatantly corrupt. It's okay. Why? Orange Man bad. Yeah. And again, here's the next piece. You think Republicans don't do that when their time comes? Of course they do. They do the same thing. What if Mom Donnie becomes governor of New York or something? I'm like, we got to go do something. Why? Because Mom Donnie's he's an existential threat. Of course he is. Everyone's an existential threat. Everyone is the bad guy. So that's why they won't do it. Why would they? Because then they might get arrested. They don't want to do that. They want to be able to do all this stuff. So yes. Patty says, been arguing online with my Dem friends and foes because I'm not registered Democrat. Well, obviously you're evil. Just saying. I mean, clearly. I'm not a registered Democrat. I have been told my vote doesn't matter, but also should vote Dem. They are so lost and desperate. True. And the issue is the entire piece here, Patty, is it's all virtue signaling. That's the worst part. It's all virtue signaling. They want you to vote so you can be with them, not because it actually helps. Not because it actually helps or makes anything better. That's not the reason. It is because they all have to get together so they think they're doing something. So yes. Patty goes on to say, left or right, it's all theater. Yeah. Yep. Patty says, Utah Senator Stuart Adams just lowered consent to 13. What? Tell me that's okay. They aren't doing these things behind closed doors anymore. Wow. Utah makes me think it's some kind of Mormon thing. I don't know if that's true, but that makes me feel that. Wow. That doesn't make it okay. Yeah, that's bad. I hope that change. I hope, yeah, that's not good. Yes, that's not good. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Patty says, the Dems here are desperate for people to run for office and no one wants to. They're in a panic mode right now. Yeah, because they just want to stay in charge. Remember, democracy is when Democrats are in charge. Right? There we go. All right. Mike's going to specify the law. Okay. No, not quite 13. The law passed in 2024 does let an 18-year-old be with a 13-year-old and get third-degree felony, which doesn't require listing. Oh, I see. Yeah, these are called Romeo and Juliet laws. The idea is to make adjustments for kids that are falling in love in like high school and junior high school and to not make them felons when that happens. I get the concept behind it. I'm with you, Mike. I think 13 is a little bit too low, but I could see like a 17 and 15-year-old are intimate. Do I want that 17-year-old to be that to be a crime? Do I want them to be on the list for the rest of their life? No. Yeah, I may not like it, but I mean, when I was 17, if some hot 15-year-old girl wanted to give me some when I was 17, I probably would have said yes. I mean, I assume I would have. Didn't happen, so I can't be sure, but I have a feeling if it happened, I would have said yes. And I think most 17-year-old boys, if a 15-year-old girl said, let's do it, would probably say yes. I'm assuming they would. So, and I wouldn't want that person being a sex offender for it or being a felon for it. So I get the concept. So yeah, maybe that's a little off. But 13 is just still a little low. So anyway, Space Jason is over on Rumble. He says, Larry, I have to strongly disagree. Okay. I want politicians to do much less of what they say. I want fewer people to vote so the government's drastically small. Well, okay. Of course, I want government to do less. But then we should be voting for people who say, I'm going to make government smaller, and then they should do so. My example here is Doge. Doge had a whole lot of promise and did almost nothing. So when it comes to Doge, I wish he had done what he said. So what I would say is I still want politicians to do what they say. I want to change what they say. That's where I am, Space. I want them to change this. I want them to say, I'm going to cut government. Great, I'll vote for you. And then when he gets in the power, he cuts government. Now we're happy. I'm going to leave you alone. Oh, great. Do that, please. I'll vote for you. Then it leaves me alone. Yeah, so I'd rather them do what they say, but just say better things. And I'd like us to vote for people who are saying better things. That's where I want to go. So, yes, there we go. All right. Dave says, if every congressional district was the same population as Wyoming, then there would be about 575 House seats. Oh, interesting concept, Dave. When we do our census every 10 years and we have to rewrite districts, maybe we also do that. And whichever state has the lowest population, in this case, is Wyoming, that becomes how big a district is, right? That's how big a district is. That's not a bad idea. I like that. It would be fairer. And we might have more, but it'd be tough to just deal with, like, how do you deal with all the seats and all that stuff? But you know what? I don't mind. Whatever. I'm actually okay with it. That's not a bad idea. Let me think about that. So that Liberty Lady says, I love AMAs. Me too. I agree. Me too. John says, James Carville's not true, but sometimes he's still right. You can be crazy and still be right. Right? Yes. You can do both. So, all right. Robert, how are you? The YouTube poll needs a ranked choice voting option because it puts candidates first. Ooh, I like that. That's good. Yep. All righty. Michael says 3/5 a citizen. Yes, we've had that before. And that's the point, right? We have precedent in America when it comes to counting people who aren't citizens or who aren't people. We do have a precedent, and we made a compromise. And for those of you who haven't heard this, I mean, I'm sure most of you have, right? In this case, when we were putting the Constitution together, the slave state said, well, no, you have to count the slaves as for representation because, they're people. And the North said, oh, the people? Oh, so they can be free? Well, no. They're property. Oh, the property? Well, so we can't count them. No, the people. Look, they're people. So are they people or the property? Which one? They got to be one or the other. And they agreed that every slave counted as 3/5 a citizen for that, right? 3/5 a person. So there is a precedent that we could decide and make a compromise. It's not a great precedent. It isn't, but it does exist. And boy, judges love precedent. So we can say, hey, you're a migrant who's undocumented. You're 3/5 a citizen. Oh my God, it sounds horrible. Or 3/5 a person, whatever. I mean, we do have a precedent for it. So I guess that's something. So anyway, your point is taken. Michael Long says, yeah, there's a problem with redistricting, primarily because of the gerrymandering. And yes, the two parties in the media is tearing us apart. And you're right, we're not caring. Yeah, we're giving up, Michael. We're giving up. That's our issue. We are giving up. We're just going, whatever. Whatever. But look, I get it. We fight so hard and nothing changes. And then many of us are struggling just to pay our bills. So why am I going to be excited when I'm sitting here trying to pay my bills? So, yeah. Anyway, Liberty says, hope everyone is having a fine day. Follow and subscribe on all the platforms and spank spank the notification while you're at it. Yes, guys, for those of you who haven't, I need you to do me a favor. If you haven't already, head on over to the Sharpe Way YouTube page. If you haven't already, please do that and subscribe. Head on over there, subscribe, and when you subscribe, click the all notifications button. I need more subscribers on YouTube so that people will pay attention to the show, right? I want people to pay attention to the show. I want YouTube to share it. So, and YouTube is just a bear. If you don't interact with YouTube, they're just terrible to you. So please interact. Hit the subscribe button. Click on notifications if you would on the Sharpe Way YouTube channel. Please do so if you haven't already. If you really want to support, then on top of that, become a member. Become a member on YouTube. Click that 49. Click that join button. Become a member. Membership matters. The more members we get, the less time I can spend working, the more time I can do this, the more I can prep for this, the more shows I could do. Sometimes you see I can't do a bunch of shows at the stop or I'm late, whatever. Or I struggle at the shows on time. I get them done. I still have to work during the day, right? And I still travel across the country. I still do those types of things. So all the things I'm doing, it becomes very challenging when it comes to time. So if you can become a member, it is very helpful if you can do so. And members, if you're my member, you have to come on a show. I will have a member show this month. And basically, you'll be on the show with me. We're talking all together. And you can submit things for me to look at. I am behind on all of those things. I know some of you are sending me stuff. I'm behind. Again, I'm behind. Why? Because I have to work. If I didn't have to work, I could spend more time responding to your emails. See? Membership matters. So if you can, please do so. I appreciate it. And some of you have seen the super chats. You can super chat me if you want to directly on YouTube, or you can rant me on Rumble. Either one. Those also up tremendously. Super chats usually go right to the front. Rants go right to the front. And I always grab them whenever I can. If you want to get your comment to the front and support the show, super chat or Rumble is the way. Super chat. This is the way. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. All righty. Grab some more of these. Mike goes on to say, our territories are basically colonies. Yes, which is why I have to get rid of them. You're correct. Yes, that's why we have to get rid of them. Yes. Josh says, what's democratic about a one-party system? Well, if it's a Democratic Party, it is by default democracy. We've covered this, Josh. It's by default democracy. It's Democratic Party. It's in the name. See? It's in the name. So, all right. Josh says, Supreme Court should be an elected position. The idea behind that was that they wanted the judges to be neutral. That was the concept. They wanted a judge. I mean, it's not true, but the idea was if they're elected, they'll be beholden to the majority. And the worry was then they would simply be, moved not by law or the Constitution, but moved by the majority. That was their worry. So I understand why they did it that way, but I see a point. But that's what they were thinking when the time came. So, yes. All righty. Michael says, and if you notice, there's the Democrats suddenly care about the Constitution, and yet every time they have control, they've proven to be just as dogmatic to increase the government. Yep. True. Shelley says, the New Deal was a bad deal. Yes. Most of the damage that's being done now, the housing crisis that we're having now, the healthcare crisis we're having now, a lot of that can be traced back to the New Deal. It's true. A lot of it can be. Josh says the New Deal prolonged the Great Depression. True. It made things worse, but it saved us. It did not. That's not the answer. Yep. Joel says, Kathy Hochul, I'll rewrite the Constitution of the United New York to gerrymander because the Texas Republicans are doing it. Yes. So you're doing something bad, so I'll do something worse? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Joel goes on to say, I like the idea of 18-year terms for the Supreme Court with a new justice nominated for 2 years. It's a simple solution. Simple solution. You got 18 years, you move on. Simple solution. You move them through, move them through, move them through. It's a much better way of doing it. It's a good long time. You learn a lot. You get seasoned people there. 18 years is a long time. And if you get someone younger, they can go off and do something else. And in theory, you might say something like, can you do it again? Yeah, you could get another 18 years or something, but maybe you have to wait after 2 people or I don't know. You can make a rule on that if you want to do it, right? If you want to let someone go back again. If they say someone got on when they were very young, right? 40. It's pretty young for a Supreme Court justice, right? 18 years, you're 58. You can go back on again if you want to. You could. Up to you. But you have to have some rule. You can't just stay on. They just keep electing them, right? So you have to come up with some rule like you got to wait 2 years or something, whatever. So maybe like that. But yeah, you can do it. Joe goes on to say, Obama wrote DACA knowing it was a mess. Yes. He asked Congress to fix immigration. They keep the can down the road as always. This is the thing. You find libertarians often say things like, hey, I want a split Congress so that they get nothing done. I've heard that often. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. Why? Because when Congress won't do anything, the president starts doing executive orders. That's what happens. And you get DACA. I would like the Congress to function, and I would like the function to cut back government. Now, both of those things are tough. I'm living in a fantasy world right now, but one day I can hope. A guy can hope, can't he? A guy can hope. That is my hope. Maybe I can do it. So yes. All right, we'll keep going down here if I can. All righty. Me some my Sharpe Way swag. You can if you want to. You get some Sharpe Way swag if you want to. The Zazzle store is up. If you guys care, please go ahead. Grab a mug or a t-shirt or a hat or whatever the case may be if you want to. You can grab some Sharpe Way swag if you want to. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Ryan says the Dems are calling Trump and November Alpha Zulu India again. Yes. Yes, every day. Yep. Shelley says, was James actually the AG at the time? I thought she had a permanent residence in the state. Aha. Well, we'll find out one day, won't we, Shelley? Yes. But look, to be forward about this, and I brought this up. Do I think we should be hammering an AG? And let's just do AG in general, then James separately. Should we be hammering any AG because they screwed around on some mortgage application? No, nobody should be. Pay your fine if it's a fine or a fee. Hey, you screwed up, pay your fee and move on. But Shelley, she went after Trump for the same thing. And she's the damn AG going after Trump for the same thing. I don't care if they hammer her on this. I don't. Because of what she did, let them hammer her. She deserves it. Now, if she had let Trump slide and been like, this is a dumb thing, if they had brought this to her, they brought the Trump stuff to her. They did. If they had, I'm making this up. This is my fantasy world. They had brought the Trump stuff to her and said, hey, we want to get Trump because, I don't know, he did something with his mortgage, even though the banks didn't care. If she had said, this is dumb. What are you doing? No, stop. Go get a bad guy. Stop. If she had done that, Shelley, I'd be like, don't do this. This is wrong. Don't go after her. She let it slide, as you should. Let her slide. Let her pay her fine or a fee. If need be, have Trump pay a small fine or fee. If that's required, fine, whatever. Right? You pay it $300, whatever. He laughs at that, move on. Whatever. If that's the case. But now, she deserves it. She deserves it. So, and then Joe goes on to say, Letitia James putting out a statement about weaponizing of the justice system is a very pot calling the kettle black. Yes. That's why she should go. That's why she should go. That's why I'm not mad at her getting hammered. Again, if she had done what I think was the right thing and this said, why are we doing this? If she had done that, I would be on her side right now. I would be, if she had let the Trump thing go, I would be on her side right now. That's where I'd be. So I'm just letting you know. But she did not. So, all righty. Ymir says, liar for governor. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Michael Long goes on to say, I just think the local government should have a say. Yeah, I'm not against that. Yes. Evelyn says, I changed party lines because leading for Nader was huge then. I'll tell you a story that Evelyn about Nader. I voted for Nader twice. I was so unaware of how the party system worked then. That's 20 years ago, 24 years ago. I was so unaware. I actually thought that Nader replaced Perot. I was like, didn't he kind of replace Perot? I thought, is he the guy? I kind of thought that. I just knew he was like the independent guy. So that's the guy I'm going to vote for. So yes, I know, very weird. That's what I thought. Michael says, landholder, Senate, House of Lords, population, Congress, House of Commons. Yes, that's correct. That's what it was supposed to be. Yes, absolutely. Shelley says, wasn't Abraham Lincoln the first presidential candidate who actually met with voters outside his home state by train? I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't sound right. I don't think so. Could someone do homework on that real fast? I don't think it was the first one. It doesn't, I mean, maybe, but it doesn't sound right to me. It sounds like it would have been earlier. So yeah, it sounds like, no, it sounds like it would be over. It would be different. Yeah. Ryan says, California has 54 electoral votes, down 1 from 2020. Looks like they will lose or due to the exodus from that state. Yes. If things keep going the way they are, Democrats losing electoral votes. California is in New York. And if Trump gets his way with the getting rid of the only counting citizens, New York and California are in trouble. They're in trouble. They are absolutely in trouble if that actually works. They're going to fight that. As if I was them, I'd fight it too. Just saying. Absolutely. Kim says, if Ross Perot had been elected in 1992, this would be a better system. True. Absolutely. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yes. So Sean says, mileage, bro. That's how you did it. You showed up in every county. I always do, brother. And Sean has been my driver in the past. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we got to every time. We keep going. We got to keep getting out there, man. There's no other way. Yes. Josh says, other guy bad is not a solution to this nation's problems. It is not. Yes, it's not. Shelley says, Joe Jorgensen was like that college professor who thought they were cool. That's literally what she was. Not like Shelley. That's literally what she was. Yes. She was a literal college professor, sadly, who was still working when she ran. I have some issues with that. That's what I'll say. when I run, I don't work. If you're going to be a serious contender in a major statewide or national race, you cannot have a job. Larry, got to pay my bills. Then don't run. That is my response to someone who goes, now local, that's not the case. You're in a large state or national, and you decide you want to run for president, you cannot work. Larry, then I can't run. Then don't run. That is my response. Then don't run. If you want to make any impact in a large state or across the country, you can't work. And do those two things will not work. They cannot work. Does not happen. And she was still working. You won't see me do that. You've never seen me do that. Not how it works. So, my VA lady says, word in the street is Larry will be back on Are You Smarter Than a Politician on Saturday, 8:15. Is it Saturday? I thought it was Friday. Is it Saturday? Hold on. Now I'm looking. I feel like it's Friday. Friday, not Saturday. Friday. Yes. It's true. I will be on Friday. I will be on Are You Smarter Than a Politician? I will be on that August 15th, Friday at 8 p.m. So a little bit off, but still good. I forgot myself. So not really, I forgot too. Yeah. It is Friday though. Yes. All righty. Rick says, Chase Oliver didn't have a chance with the avaricious, I like that word, MAGA caucus to undermine him in service to their great orange hope. Part of that's true, but the other part is he had the same plan as everybody else, Rick, which is the thing that always bothered me. And I said it to everybody, nope. The Libertarian Party didn't want to believe me. And they probably won't believe me again if I do it again. I tell them in 2028 again. The Libertarian Party cannot, if they want to win, if they want to make impact, they cannot do a full 50 state. We're going to go to every state and talk the libertarian message. That shit doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It will not work. And that was his plan. So even if he had support, he still would have got his butt kicked. Not because he's a bad guy. I like Chase. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad. I know they definitely slandered him. Well, that slander is wrong. They threw mud on him. That's what I will say. They threw lots of mud on him. But he's not a bad guy at all. I know him. He's a good libertarian. But his plan was useless. And the worst part is he didn't change his plan in an environment when RFK Jr. was sucking all the money out of money, all the press, all the money. RFK Jr. was sucking all the press and money out of the air. And if any third party was going to do anything, it was Jill Stein because she was playing the Palestinian Israeli thing, which boom, that was that was the big deal. So she had an issue. RFK Jr. had all the cash and that. What did Chase have? He had nothing. When that happened, and the sad part is I knew that, Rick, and I told everybody that because I saw it coming a mile away, which is why I said the answer was a Laura Sharpe ticket. We understood it. We were ready for it. We knew how to handle it. And what happened? This wasn't the MAGA caucus. This was the MAGA caucus or you Mises caucus, of course, but you call it MAGA, whatever. And it was both the left and the right, both virtue signaling. And only caring about, I got to stop the Mises, or Mises has got to win, stop the CLC. None of that shit mattered at all. I told everybody none of it mattered. I told everybody nobody cares, and nobody cares to this day. And they're still fighting it. If you go look at the LP, they're still fighting it. Oh, we got to take care of this. And oh, Angela that. And oh, Mises this. Nobody cares. Nobody does, except people in the Libertarian Party. No one else cares. No one outside of the Libertarian Party gives a shit what happens. They're not paying attention. They don't care. It does not matter. That's why I don't care. People always like, Larry, you got to pick a side. No, I don't. I don't care. It's irrelevant. The party will grow or it won't. And there'll be more drama, as always is, because we care more about virtue signaling than not. I don't care. So, yeah. If he had a better plan, and by the way, to be fair, I went to all the other people who are running, the candidates, and I asked them, would you accept my plan? All of them said no. The only one who didn't was Lars, which is why I would only run with Lars. And when Lars lost, I stepped down. I didn't want to be the VP. Why? For what possible reason would I want to be the VP nominee? What possible reason? Punish myself? No, thank you. I do it every day. So, yes. All righty. All right, if I keep going down here. All righty. Kaiwan says, the children got to do what they say. I'm so slow, and Zoran is going to be like Israel next month. I swear to God. Hold on. You think he's going to go to Israel next month? You think so? I don't think so. I'd be surprised. Because to your point, he said he wasn't going. He goes, that would be surprising to me. So as much as I disagree with Mamdani's ideas, I think he's an honest guy. That's my gut. I could be wrong, but I feel like he believes what he says. That's what I feel. And maybe he's fooling me. Maybe he's just so charismatic that I've fallen for it. It's possible. Possible. So, yep. Ken says the only way to keep the party you don't like from destroying the country is elect libertarians to keep either from having a majority. True. Yes. He says might be a decent message in some states. Yes. I often say that. You often hear me say it. I'll say, if you want better Democrats, Republicans, you libertarians in the room. Yes. Ryan says, Mamdani becoming a governor or senator will permanently give me a migraine. Yes, but it's my state, Ryan. So I think I'll be worse off than you. So yeah, I think I'll be worse off than you. But yes, that's true. Liberty Lady says, Rick, the MAGA wing of the LP sure was ready with their smear campaign against you. They did smear. It's true. He didn't deserve that smearing. He did not deserve it. He did not deserve the smearing at all. So Nate says, there are a lot of libertarians, anarchists, and algorithms that disdain all voting. I'd like to see an interview between you and Larkin Rose to discuss the matter. Oh, okay, I'll reach out. Put that on my calendar. See, I'll reach out. I understand the argument. And for those you don't know, there are many arguments to not voting, not just apathy, right? Mike's point of voter apathy is common, but there are people who aren't apathetic, but they have an actual argument to not vote, right? And one of their arguments is the system itself is a bad system. And if you know it's a bad system, why would you be engaged in it? Number one. It's the second piece, though. The system by itself always initiates force. So if you vote in that system, you support initiating force. Now, you may disagree with those arguments, but those are arguments that they can make, not I'm apathetic. They are moral arguments or philosophical arguments to say, I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, I understand it. I disagree, though, Nate. You know I disagree, but I understand it. I think it's a great conversation to have. So, yes. All righty. Ryan says, Liberty Lady, it also went vice versa. Some of the worst rhetoric that I saw on X was the CLC towards MC. That's true. Yes. CLC was terrible too. Oh, I remember when I was talking to some Mises people, they were like, Larry, you talked to CLC, but what did they say? I said, they just call you Nazis. He said, what? Yeah, they just call you Nazis. That's it. And there were many CLC people who just said they're all Nazis. And here's the worst part. You know, the Southern Poverty Law Center did a hit piece on LP and the Mises. The CLC set that up. So, to be clear, libertarians got an outside organization to call other libertarians Nazis and white supremacists. Yes. Thinking that'll fix them. It just made everything worse. So the CLC has its side of horrible people too, doing stupid shit that just makes things worse. Mises too. Mises doesn't get off the hook, but so does CLC because they thought virtue signaling would help. People told me we gotta know that when the time came, we pushed back. Nobody gives a shit. That is just you virtue signaling. I told the CLC members, and Ryan, you're correct. I told them when they would come at me going, Larry, we got to push back. We got to get rid of, we got to leave. I said, you're burning down a house that you have to buy back in 2 or 4 years. Why are you burning the house down? This is going to be your house in 2 or 4 years. Why are you burning it down? Because we got to show that we push back. No, you don't. Just buy the house back and fix it. That's it. Every time the CLC got mad at me and said, well, Larry, they're Nazis, whatever. I said, great, they're Nazis and they're beating you. So organize and out-organize them and win. Just out-organize them. That's the answer. You want help? I'll help you. Tell me, what do you need? You need me to help you raise money? You need to help me do something? I'll help. I literally said that. And they were like, no, Larry, you have to virtue signal. We don't want your help. We just want you to virtue signal. No. Out-organize them. Out-hustle them. and buy the House back. That was my advice to them. They did not want to hear that shit. They just wanted to call them Nazis all day. And they did. And they did. So, yes. Liberty says, the new South Park was lit about Chrissy. No, that was very good. I enjoyed the South Park. I did. I saw it. It was good. Yes. Yep. Liberty goes, Ryan, I dislike CLC equally to MC, NCA, non-caucus affiliation. I agree. I'm with you. Ryan agrees too. Okay, we're there. There we go. So, Kim says, I'm taking it easy in your life. I'm not saying as many videos. You have slowed down. That's true. I was sometimes, guys, getting 2 or 3 a day from Kim. I'm not joking. 2 or 3 a day. I can't go through them all. I'll look at this one for a couple of seconds. And in some of them you were sending me, I was like, I don't want to watch this one. There was some of them too. So, yes, absolutely. All righty. Joel says, are there any great jeans in the Sharpe Way Swag? Ooh, I should do that. That's brilliant, Joel. All right, Joel. I'm going to take that idea, use it, and give you literally no credit at all. Just let you know. You'll just have to know that it was you, because I'm going to give you no credit whatsoever. Team, you listen? Good idea. Kitsugi's in the house. How are you? It's been a while. I'm glad you're back. I hope there's some cool things going on. I hope they're with you. I hope so. Yes. There we go. So, all righty. Evelyn says, no, Nader vote was 50 years ago. No, it wasn't. Nader was 2000. You mean Nader when Nader was doing stuff? He was doing, no, when he ran for president was 2000 and then 2004. 2004. Ross Perot was 92 and 96. Perot was 2000, 2004. Yes. So there we go. All righty. Michelle says, is there any way of stopping Hochul? She is ruining literally everything she touches. Electric cars in it? Yes. All right. Here's the reality. To be very full for you guys. I am obviously considering making a run for governor again. Of course, I'm considering it. I haven't decided the details yet, what I'll do, but I am considering making a run for governor. Of course I am. It's what I run. That's what I run for. People are like, Larry, you always running? Nope. I run for one thing. Well, internally, I run for VP sometimes. But externally, I only run for one thing, governor of New York. I want to fix my state. The way that we can get rid of Hochul is only if the Republicans back an independent or take an independent line in some way, shape, or form. That's it. That's the only answer. Right now, it looks like Elise Stefanik will be the Republican nominee. It's not 100% rule, but it looks like it. She cannot beat Hochul. Impossible. New York State, the Republicans in New York State are packing up and leaving in droves. Again, as I mentioned, we gained 200,000 migrants last year in New York State, at least, probably more, but at least 200,000 migrants. And we still lost 100,000 people last year because 300,000 people left. Most of those will be voting against Hochul. So the numbers get worse and worse. Democrats in this state still hate Trump. They do. You see it everywhere. Mamdani won the damn Democratic primary. So Democrats still in this state, New York State, hate Trump. They still do. Elise Stefanik is tied to Trump's hip. She will take that with her. So unless she somehow becomes independent, grabs independent somehow, gets an independent lot, something, she'll do something independent, or she will not win in the state. Now, if Republicans were smart, they would get in the phone and call a guy like me and say, hey, Larry, do you want to run in our primary as an independent, as a libertarian, as We the People, as a whatever, as a Constitution, whatever. You want to run as an independent in our primary? Because you could beat Hochul. Yeah, I could. If I had a Republican line and I don't work, I just cover the state with matching funds in New York State. By the way, you guys don't know New York State, they have the ultimate scam now. The ultimate scam is if you raise $500,000, which I've done twice already. Last time I ran, I raised $500,000 each time. They give you 6 to 1. They give you $3 million. Taxpayer dollars. So Michelle, you'll give me extra money. Well, you're gonna give everybody extra money because it's all taxpayer money. So Hochul gets it, Stefanik will get it. They all get the extra $6 million or $3, whatever the money is. I think the total amount you get, the highest you can get, I think it's total $6 million. I think total is the highest you can get. I think total. So you're gonna give them $6 million anyway. So you give me some too. See that? That's how New York State works. So thank you, New York State taxpayers. You'll be giving me a whole bunch of money if I run next year. Yeah. So that's how we beat her. having an independent line is the only way, because Democrats will not vote for Republicans. They won't. Will they vote for independents? Yes. I saw it. I saw when they voted for me. I saw it. So yes. Kentucky says, I was trying to convince everyone RFK Jr. was the next Ross Perot, even though I wasn't even alive. Wait a minute, you were alive. Hold on. Oh, no, maybe you weren't. 96. You were alive in 96, weren't you? You're not that young. Come on now. You were alive in 96. So, yes, you were. 96, you were alive. Don't say that. I don't want to, yeah. Dave says, other guy bad works with the base. It does, but the swing in the middle doesn't, right? That's the issue. You're totally correct. So, no matter what, the Republican in New York State is going to get 35% of a 30% of the vote, no matter what, right? No matter what. In places like New York State, right? They're going to get a certain amount. The question is how much. Josh says, the only Libertarian Party member that's popular is Spike Cohen. Thanks for nothing, Josh. Not me. Only Spike. But you're my friends. See how you are. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. And then Why Liberty says, New York State losing multiple House seats plus redistricting is likely could be court forced to not be political. Hold on. New York State losing multiple House seats plus redistricting that likely could be court forced to not be political or racial. That'll keep James busy for a while. She defends stuff. Yes. Yes. Yeah. All righty. Ryan says, I see a ton of similarities between the GOP in 2025 and the Conservative Party UK in 2019, 2020. Now the Conservatives in the UK are to bring up extinction. Yeah, I know. This, if you guys remember, I said this not last year, early this year, January-ish, maybe it was actually last year too. One of my biggest worries about Trump and Republicans is that they would think we have a mandate. We can do anything. We are unstoppable. We can do whatever we want. And when that happens, the hubris screws them up. The hubris gets them to start thinking that they can do anything, and they go too far and they get hammered. That was always my worry. It may still be my worry, right? It might still be it. I think it's still a big issue. I do. I think it's a big issue. So, all righty here. Missy says, watch Larry on Civil Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. True. Subscribe and check out all of Civil's great content. Use code Larry, L-A-R-R-Y, Larry, to get that at $25 per year. Yes, it is 50% off. Guys, if you do want to, the most important piece about Civil is... Yes, that's a cool little Civil thing. The most important piece is that my show, Wednesdays, is actually on Civil. Yes, 7 p.m. Wednesday show is a very special Civil show. It is only on Civil. If you want to see it on Civil, you need to sign up at Civil, CIVL.com. Put in the code Larry. There's a little green grayed out area on the upper right-hand corner. Click that button. Put in L-A-R-R-Y. That's the code. It's 50% off. It's $25 for the entire year. There are so many cool things on Civil. I didn't watch much of it recently because I've been so damn busy. But there's always something good on it. I don't have anything to show you this time because I didn't see anything this time. Usually I do see things, but yes. But it's the glory of Civil. The most important piece about Civil is it's not about the conflict machine. It's about you getting real conversation, real issues, real back and forth, and my cool show. I mean, come on. Civil, CIVL.com, code Larry for 50% off. $25 for the entire year. The entire year. Yes. All right. Let me go down here if I can. All right. So many of these. I want to keep going if I can. That literally says, I will reach out to Larkin Rose. Yeah, please do that. It'd be great. I love that. Yep, I love that. Josh says, I would like to see a more unified Libertarian Party. We saw that, Gary Johnson. We saw that. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, all righty. So many of these things. I want to go down some more of these. I want to grab as many as I can because I know it is an AMA. So I'm going to grab as many of these as I can. All righty. I get that piece already. She covered that piece already. Good. All right. Shelley says, Trump's team got him elected, in my opinion, as they leave him, so will his supporters. Oh, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. He's kind of an anomaly, Shelley. Trump's kind of an anomaly. So, yeah. Kinsugi says, Is it abnormal for the Green Party to outperform Libertarians? Was it the first time? Yes, generally speaking, Libertarians outperform the Green Party. They do. This was a very bad round for us. And the biggest reason is a whole bunch of Libertarians voted for Trump. Voted for Trump, not even for Orr. A whole bunch voted for Trump. My guess would be about 500,000 is my guess in that area. Supported Trump this time around. That's the big deal. A lot of them did. So yeah, the party broke into a civil war and did not unify. That's why Josh was talking about having a more unified party. Generally speaking, when the party isn't in the middle of civil war, the Libertarian Party will be the third largest party. That's how it usually works. In this time, it didn't happen. So yeah. Dave says the Libertarian Party is still becoming a pack for the Republican Party. That's McArdle's plan for 2028. That isn't true now. No. Could that be a future? Maybe. The only way that doesn't happen is if we have better candidates and the people who show up at the convention stop being virtue signalers. If they virtue signal, we will fail and become a pack. If they actually pick good candidates who can get stuff done, they won't. That's the issue. What the Libertarian Party has more than anything else is ballot access. That's what we have. That's our asset. If we become a pack, we lose that. If we don't have good candidates, we lose that. Candidates are everything. And right now we don't have much when it comes to candidates right now. We just don't. That's our biggest issue. So of course, they ran a Trump. So we'll see. I hope that changes. Ryan's going to say Chase got 0.42% of the vote in 2024. So no, the culture war didn't matter at all. Correct. Nobody cared. It didn't matter. Absolutely true. It didn't matter. And then Y says, would Mamdani kiss the wall? Oh my God. If he did, he'd be finished. If he did, he'd be finished. I can't see it. I mean, maybe. I can't see it. I can't see it. Yeah. Absolutely. All righty. Dave says, Larry, the MC thought that edge loading worked. Yeah, that's their form of virtue signaling. It's true. That's their form of it. Right? Yeah. It turned off donors instead. In fact, some MC members want to decertify the Ohio LP affiliate if they run a candidate against Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah, I believe it. Because the problem is we've had 50 years of not making impact. So they really want impact and they will do anything to get it. I'm not agreeing with them, but I understand it. Yeah. So, all right. Liberty says, is it true that Larry Sharpe gets to celebrate with Ron Paul for his birthday bash? If so, I hope you post some pics this weekend. Yes, that's why I'm doing my AMA today, because tomorrow I will be at the Ron Paul event. It's true. Yes, I will be out there tomorrow. That's why I'll be traveling this weekend. That's why there's no shows this weekend. Correct. That is true. Yes, I'll be out there. What does CLC stand for? Hold on. Classical Liberal Caucus? Yeah, Classic Liberal Caucus. Oh, yeah, Michael. Yeah, Michael says it. Yep, that's it. Yep. Dave says, no pro-life Republican can win a statewide race in New York. True. I told my conservative friends, I told them, I said, the last thing you want is to overturn Roe v. Wade. They're like, what? I said, it's the last thing you want. I said, you don't want abortion being a legal issue. It is a cultural issue. Change the culture. If you want less abortion, if you want fewer abortions in the nation, the answer is to get women to choose to not have abortions. That is your best way, your best answer. How do you do that? You create an environment where either women feel safe enough to have babies, right? So they have them, or they have better access to contraception so they don't get pregnant, or they feel comfortable in their partner so they don't become promiscuous. You change the culture and so women decide to not have abortions. That's how you fix that problem. Legally, whenever you outlaw abortion, what you wind up doing is, while it feels good, that's also virtue signaling. While it feels good, what you actually wind up doing is punishing poor women. That's how it actually works. Wealthy women go wherever they want to get their abortions, and poor women get screwed. So you punish poor women is all you do. That's what actually happens. So I think you're right. And New York women, all about pro-choice. And in fact, what I warned them of, I warned my conservatives, I told you, I said, if they overturn Roe v. Wade, you will turn people who didn't care at all about this issue, they will become pro-choice. And the people who are pro-choice won't only be pro-choice, they will become pro-abortion. And they are now. They wear shirts now that say how many abortions they've had on their shirts. They have become pro-abortion. They weren't before. They were just pro-choice. Now they're pro-abortion. The backlash of this has made things worse. How do I know that? Because all the anti-abortion laws in the states that are red are still failing. They're still failing when they go up for the people. The people are saying no. Because now pro-life has now been turned into anti-woman. And I'm on record. I said this publicly. I said this years ago. If you do it, you will see pro-life become culturally anti-woman. And now it is. The answer was cultural. It was always cultural. But anyway, Kintsugi says, 1996. Oh, yeah, I was alive. Yeah, you're not that young. You're not that young. That's all. Ryan says, Trump is Stefanik's albatross at the hip. Dems will attack her like starving dogs going after a steak. Yes. Yes. 100%. Liberty says, I'm really not looking forward to hearing GOP talking heads talk about New York going red. Yeah, it's not. But you're right. They're all going to say that. You're going to see all the Republicans go, this is our year. They say it every time, and they're wrong every time. It's not their year. It's not their year. If you're a New Yorker and you're listening or watching, and you consider yourself either Republican or conservative, the Republican Party has not won a statewide election in New York State. I mean, statewide, AG, senator, governor, in 23 years. And the state's getting bluer, not redder. Mamdani just won the Democratic primary in New York City. It's over. Just accept that as true. This is not your year. Next year's not your year. 2028, not your year. 2030, not your year. For this to come back, it will take at least minimum 20 years to come back. At least. At least. You have to first stop the bleeding, then get red people to come or blue people to leave. Either one. Nowhere near. You want to believe it? Go ahead. The state will turn gold before and Josh said it. The state will turn yellow, gold. The state will turn gold before it turns red. Absolutely. Yes. Kintsugi's watching Civil. She says it's pretty cool. Watching the Academy videos to learn more about libertarianism. There we go. You learn more and more. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes. Absolutely true. Literally says Wednesday Civil definitely tied into tonight's topic. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Josh says, I see Trump supporters going to support Rand Paul. Really? Okay. Okay. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So, all righty. Continue says, correct, coercing or forcing things on people never change behavior. They just get more desperate. Plus, New York and California are so left, it will never work. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Okay. Joseph Pataki. Yes, Pataki was the last one. It's correct. 2002, Pataki won. He was the last one. Yes. Michelle says, even Dems are starting to hate Hochul. Yes, I agree. But the problem is with the current system. Michelle, this is the problem. The current system, this is the reason why I'm saying independence is the answer, right? The current last time in 2024, New York State was the only state in the entire union that did not have an independent candidate on the ballot. The only one. Every other state had an independent candidate on the ballot, not New York. Did not have it. They threw RFK Jr. off because his address was wrong. I'm not joking. His address was wrong. Why was his address wrong? Because they said it was wrong. How do I know that? Okay, his true story on RFK Jr. He went to New Hampshire before he went to New York to get on the ballot because of the way things work in the individual laws in the state. And New Hampshire said, you need to have an address. He's like, you have to have that in New Hampshire? He said, no, you don't have to have an address in New Hampshire. You just have to have an address in America. You're running for president. You don't have to have an address in New Hampshire, not required, but you just have to have an address that in America. He said, which one should I use? He's a Kennedy. He has multiple houses, right? He's a Kennedy. You might be upset about that, but Kennedys have multiple houses. We said, which address would we use? They said, well, which one you want to use? He said, well, my driver's license is in New York. I've lived in New York most of my life. My hunting license is in New York, and I'm licensed to practice law in New York. They said, use New York license, use New York address. He said, okay. He uses New York address. I'm not joking. That's what actually happened. So he used it. So now when he went to New York to apply, he used the same address. They went, you don't live there. That's not real. That's not your address. He went, well, no, that's the same address that I'm here. They went, no, we don't think that's your address, and they threw him off the ballot. On that technicality, he spent $1 million, got 145,000 signatures, 145,000 New Yorkers wanted him on the ballot, and the judge said, your address is off. What a horrible judge. If I ever become governor, I'm going to remove that judge. Take that as a threat, Judge. You'll be removed. I'm removing you because that was an embarrassment. The idea that you would throw, and you're like, well, Larry, if it's wrong, it's the law. Then remedy it. That's it. If that's true, and you go, but Larry, you have to follow the law. I agree. Follow the law. I'm not mad at you for that. Fine. Then what is the address? It's this. Write that address in. Done. Now you're on the ballot. Remedy the situation. Maybe he pays a fine. Okay. Pay a $250 fine. Change your address on the ballot. Fine. The remedy is throw you off the ballot? Bullshit. Embarrassment. This is why, even though the Dems are going to hate Hochul, unless someone like a popular independent like me would run, unless that happens, no one else will get in the ballot. No one else has been through it. No one else knows how to get through it. I'm the only guy who knows how to get through this because I've been through it. I both won and lost. I both got on the ballot and got sued off the ballot. I've been in court 8 times. I know how this works. No one else does. So that you're right. They hate Hochul, but it's going to be Hochul unless something else happens. Hochul, and in the Democrats' mind, Hochul versus Trump. Because whoever the Republicans put up, they're going to call that person Trump. Ryan's correct. They will call that person Trump. It doesn't matter who it is. They're going to say Trump. So it's Trump versus Hochul. Hochul wins every time. That's the reason why. You're not wrong, but unless there's someone else, it won't happen. So, yeah. All righty. So I go down here, grab some more of these. All righty. Joel says, I noticed you didn't say on day one, I will. I know. Yes. Yes. That's the Republican thing. Day one, I'm doing this. Day one, doing this. Day one, doing that. Yes. Blondie says, George Washington told us not to make bipartisan committees. He dies in exactly. Yeah. He said avoid parties. He said don't do the party thing. He said don't do the party thing. And we went, psh, what do you know? Just the war hero and the first president, psh, dummy. That's what we said. So, yeah. Joel Owen Rumble says, I'm encouraged there's a national effort to make the states follow the election laws. It's a civil rights issue. Okay, there we go. That's not bad. Look, the goal should be not to follow the law. And that's the sad part about how we do this in our country. What I mean by that. Judges are supposed to interpret the law. That's literally their job. But they refuse to. In fact, judges they actually say this. It doesn't matter what they thought. It matters what they wrote. Holy shit, is that stupid? That's insanely dumb. That's insanely dumb. If that's true, I don't require judges. I'll put in an algorithm and I'll fire all of you. An algorithm will do it. Your job as a judge is literally to judge. It's in the fucking name. Judge. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to judge towards the Constitution, not the brain-dead chimps that make the terrible laws in our assemblies. Yes, they're brain-dead chimps. They are empty suits or empty heads, and they make terrible laws, don't care about the Constitution at all, don't care about anything. They just make laws that make money. That's all they care about. So a judge is supposed to go, no, that law is bullshit. That's not even close to the Constitution. No, they're supposed to do that. But they won't. They go, well, it's the law. Well, yeah, but this was a judge. But it's the law. Well, I don't need you then, do I? If you're going to follow the law, I don't need you. You're supposed to look at it, say it doesn't work, and go, bullshit, throw it out. It's in your name. Judge. We don't do that, though. What a judge should have said is, instead of, well, that's the law, say, yeah, but 145,000 New Yorkers signed a piece of paper saying they want this guy on the ballot. If I put him on the ballot, no one is harmed. People can simply choose to not vote for him. If I take him off the ballot, then I'm literally taking away the rights of 145,000 people to vote for him. Wow, I'm harming people if I take him off the ballot. I'm not harming if I keep him on the ballot. This law is stupid. I'm going to put him on the ballot. That's what a judge would do. They would judge, and they would recognize that. They would also go to the Constitution and say, well, I'm sworn to uphold the Constitution, defend it, And the Constitution doesn't say anything about parties at all. It doesn't say anything about ballots at all. It says we can vote for who we want to vote for. Huh. And our founders said parties were stupid. Huh. Maybe I should let him on a ballot. That's what a good judge would do. We don't have those in New York. New York doesn't have any of those. None. Our judges literally say, well, it doesn't matter what they thought. It matters what they wrote. I want you to really imagine how stupid that is. So if I make a mistake and I write something wrong, you're going to say what I wrote, not what I thought? Isn't the intent of the law important? Isn't that why we have judges? So I asked the question. I've asked the question before to people. You're a judge, and our brain dead chimps pass a law. And the law is if a 17-year-old or older is convicted of graffiti, of vandalism, graffiti, then they had to be sentenced to death. Is the mandatory minimum death. Our idiots passed that law. They would. Our totally bought and sold governor signs the law. So now you're a judge, and in front of you is that law. And what happens? Jury says, yep, we convicted him. He did graffiti. We saw him. It was video. Your job now is to execute him. That's your job. Sentence him to death. What were you going to do? The amount of judges I know who will go, it's the law, sentence him to death. Yeah, that's the judge that we have. That is horrible. A judge would go, this law's retarded. No, I'm not. I don't know what idiots made this law. This law is null and void. I'm not going to do a capital punishment for a kid. This is literally cruel and unusual punishment. I'm not doing it. What is wrong with all of you? No, that's what a judge should do. Well, Larry, why won't they? Here's the reason why. You're probably wondering, why won't they? Because they're all bad people? No, not because of that. Because incentives. There are literally, judges are not in any way, shape, or form beholden to us. They're not. But Larry, some of them we vote for. Yes, but they have this rule now, by the way. The parties put people up for the judgeships. The parties do that. So they're beholden to the parties. Not just that, most of them run unopposed. So they're up to the parties. Not just that. They made a rule that the judge can't answer a question about how they would rule. Yes. If you ask a judge, hey, judge, in this case, how would you rule? Well, I can't say that, blah, blah. Utter bullshit. They made that up so they don't have to say anything. The first thing we're going to do is when we talk to judges, when we talk to judges who go to the Supreme Court, don't they ask questions about that? Don't they ask about Roe v. Wade? Didn't they ask about that? You ask about. So when they're going to make him a Supreme Court judge, the senators get to ask them about how they would rule. That's fine to do that then. But we, the people who are electing on local, we can't. They made that law up. It's not a law. They made that rule. I can't do it. It's unethical. Bullshit. When I'm a governor, I will openly say it's bullshit. And I will tell anyone who doesn't answer a question, I will try to remove them. I will be purging judges like this tomorrow until I stop this shit. They are wrecking us. Our judges have abandoned us. Why? Because of the system. They are beholden to the party structure. This whole thing was about the two-party system. And that's what it's about. If one judge would have said, this is a stupid law, I'm done, they wouldn't put him back up for election, or he wouldn't be selected by the governor anymore. He'd lose his job. That's why he won't do it. He'll lose his job. That's the reason. But if we let them to be elected and they could campaign like anybody else, they could campaign and they'd be beholden to us as they should be. They could explain what they're doing. Thomas Massey is a perfect example of this. Thomas Massey stands by the Constitution, explains everything. So did Justin Amash. Explained everything. Here's why I voted for this. Here's why. Because of the Constitution. Why shouldn't a judge say that? Why shouldn't a judge say, here's why I let that guy off? Because this. And we go, oh shit, that makes sense. Or no, it doesn't. Either one. Either one. I threw that law. Why? Because this. Why aren't they beholden to us? They should say why. The judge should be saying, I wish we had activist judges for the Constitution. We don't. We have activist judges for the party platforms. We should have activist judges for the Constitution. That's what we should do. We don't. If we had those type of judges, I'd be like, please let them all grandstand. Let them all do it. But they don't. Anyway, you got me all triggered. I'm sorry. I got triggered. Yeah. It's like, yeah, who got like triggered about it? I know. Yes. I know. Because they have absolutely abandoned us. They have abandoned us. And they are the only people who, in theory, could stop this madness, and they won't. That's why. So Ryan says, brain dead chimps is the perfect description for those who are in the state legislature here in Missouri. Yep. They're empty suits, empty heads. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. Anyway, Josh says, yeah, I've heard threats from the MC folks. But when we get an L to run against Vivek here in Ohio, Republicans don't like it. Change our ballot access laws. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. That is an issue. So yes. Patty says the opposite of progress is Congress. Very nice. Very nice. Dave says, but Larry, allowing RFK Jr. to be on the ballot, he violates the rights of Democrats that aren't going to vote for him. By RFK being in the ballot, he diminishes the votes of other Democrats. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. And remember, Democrats in charge equals democracy. So basically, RFK Jr. is anti-democracy. Why does he hate democracy? That's the issue. You're right. Dave, I should have seen it that way. And I didn't. Guys, I know I haven't asked you yet, but I'm going to right now. If I could, please click the like button. Some of you aren't clicking the like button. Why aren't you clicking the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo? Please click that button. If you haven't, why do you hate me? Please do so. It does matter. Remember something else. I'm on Spotify. Yeah. You can find this podcast on Spotify. Tell your friends. In fact, like it on Spotify. Click all the good stuff on, what do you got to do? Click like 5-star, whatever. Click those things. Do the clicky things so that people care. It's important. The clicky things. Do those. And of course, we need to interact with YouTube. So please do that if you would. Of course, share or repost this. All those things matter. It's important for you to do this. I know I ask you. Please do so. If you can do it, it's free, costs nothing. It makes things. I want to grow this to the best of my ability. I'm trying to put a lot of my time and energy into this. I know some of you guys are too. Why would you care if this grows? Maybe you don't. Maybe you go, Larry, I like you. I have fun with this small group. Okay, I do too. But if you want bigger, cooler, more powerful guests, this has to be a bigger show, or they won't come on. If you want me to get the cooler guests, have the real, the fun stuff with the interesting conversations, it has to be bigger. They're not going to come on. It's not, right? They're going to go on all the big podcasts. This has got to be a bigger podcast for that to happen. So I'm asking you to please go out of your way, if you can, to please do all the little things that are important. All the clicking, all the liking, all the 5-starring, all the sharing, all the things, so that this can grow. I have to get this to grow, or the message is going to die. It is. And I don't want it to. I hope you don't want it to. So do all the clicky things. They matter. I'm going to ask you if you could also, as I have always, when you have a moment, please do me a small favor. Head over to the Advocates. I have asked you to go to Advocates often. There is a link right now in my YouTube, on my YouTube page, Rumble, and Facebook. Whichever one you're on, click that link. That specific link says link to Advocates. Click that link. Go there and take the world's smallest political quiz. It's like a minute. You have taken it already, Larry. Take it again. Take it again and share it. Take it, share it. That's all I want you to do. Take it, post it any place. I don't care where. Tag me if you want to. Post it, tag it someplace, share it. It does matter. Another thing that makes everybody happy, please do so. These things are all free. They take a little bit of time, I know, but you're watching me for 2 hours. So a little bit of time, it does matter. Please do so. Every bit does count. Please do so. I know I keep asking you because it does matter. So yes. All right. Let's see here. Let me grab a couple of these. Oh, Kenzu says safe travels. Thank you. Yes. Have a fun weekend. Yes. I probably will not be, but we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes I have good travel. Sometimes I don't. Yes, but I will be on Monday at 1 p.m. My radio show will be on Monday at 1 p.m. And again, my regular Sharpe Way show will be on at 7 p.m. So I will be on twice on Monday, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Monday. We'll see how that works. Guys, I do want to ask you one more thing. As you know, when this is over, please comment after the live and comment on what's your thoughts on fixing the two-party system. What are your thoughts on the two-party system? Can we fix it? Is it fixable? What are your thoughts? Put that down in the comments after this live. It does matter. And of course, if you're watching this and it's not live, if you're watching the next day, you see 2 videos pop up. Please click on one of them and watch them for at least 8 minutes. YouTube loves when we do that. It's very good. Guys, I'm going to be gone for the weekend, but I'll be back on Monday. I will see you all very soon.